Welcome in, Warchant.com, Warchant TV for a Warchant report. Just like that, you've seen him. You've seen your writer, Corey Clark. He's there. Wave your hands, Corey. Give you peace signs, all that good stuff. We will give you updates as they happen. Of course, you're going to want to like and subscribe. Be here for all of those. The bell's got to go off when you find out that Florida State's getting a guy or losing a guy. And right now, we're here to report they're losing a guy. A veteran linebacker in the form of Amari Gainer. Of course, he was a legacy. His father, Herb, played here. I'm old enough to remember that. You are too, aren't you, Corey?
I am, man. He caught a big touchdown in the Fiesta Bowl in 1987, Jeff.
You're damn right he did. Good job, buddy. I know our old selves could do this, go into the Wayback Machine. And it was because of that the hopes were very high for Amari Gainer when he arrived in Tallahassee to carry on that legacy and to be an elite player. He was never an elite player here. He was a productive player who got on the field an awful lot. If we're just going by sheer numbers, he had over 200 tackles in his career. He releases that statement that you can see on his screen. There is nothing contentious here. He did walk on senior day. It's no real surprise, Corey. I would suppose, would wish this young man very well. Hopefully he goes on and has a starring role somewhere and completes his career and in a way that maybe shines a greater light on him and his potential at the next level.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool for the people that aren't on Twitter, and I understand it, but if you're not on Twitter, Mike Norvell retweeted Amari's announcement and said he wishes nothing but the best for the young man. He hopes he has a great career. Somebody's going to get a special player or a special person. Maybe not a special player. I don't know if he worded it like that, but a special person, because you don't like to lose special players, Jeff. That's the whole thing. But so that's cool, man. It wasn't contentious. The first guy that kind of went in the portal last week seemed very contentious. Mike Norvell did not tweet anything about him, but he made a point to tweet about Amari Gainer. And look, from a pragmatic standpoint, you knew this was coming because he walked on senior day. So either he was going to go to the NFL, which I don't know that he's done enough to get an invite to a combine, or he's going to go try to get a combine invite by being awesome next year somewhere else. And I do think you and I both think there's some talent in that kid. It was never really unlocked here. I don't know if they couldn't figure out how to use him, if the system didn't fit him for some reason. Maybe he'd be better in a 3-4 than a 4-3. I don't know, but his skill set, whatever that may be, and he's a big, physical, rangy kid that can run a little bit. It just never really materialized, especially last year and this year. Now, this year he got hurt early on, but he was not part of their starting plans anyway. Last year, he kind of got passed over by some guys and wasn't the player that we all kind of thought he might be.
Yeah, I had held out hope for him because we saw in the spring, obviously, he was being pushed, and he knew he was being pushed, and he played with a real edge in spring practice, brought everything he had to it every single day, trying to get just enough of an edge to maybe win that job. But when that didn't happen, and as you said, rightfully, he did suffer an injury this year. By the way, congratulations to him for battling back through that injury, by the way, never really losing sight that he could make it back before the end of the year. He got in meaningful games late this season and even gave a little something in terms of a contribution in a couple of those games. So you root for a kid who works that hard, who cares that much about his team to fight back through an injury. He could have already known that he was going to take it on down the road at the end of this year and not fought to get all the way back, but he did. So, again, he's done everything right by the program. That's all you can really ask for is you bring in a kid. Obviously, Florida State assessed that kid, and they thought he was going to be a good player for them someday. Turns out he wasn't a great player here, but he was a good fit here. And he's part of why that locker room has flipped over, because he did buy in, Corey. He did work hard. He did give everything he had for the program. And I think as fans, even if a guy doesn't live up to the overall hype or what you thought he was going to be, especially a legacy player, you can't be mad at a kid who gave everything he had and worked hard and made sure that he got along with everybody and did what he was asked to do.
But yeah, and he's an FSU graduate. He's an alum now. He's transferring as a grad student. He did walk on senior day. He is a graduate, so that's cool. Or I guess he might be graduating. I don't know if he's already graduated. He might be walking here in a week or two. But, I'll always remember in that 2020 debacle down at Miami. By the way, if you want to go watch a great video, go watch Ira and I's Warchant rap after that 2020. Somehow that found my feed a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at this. But in that game, I'll always remember Herb Street saying Amari Gainer's their best player on defense, and he might not have been wrong in the second game of 2020. Now, Asante Samuel ended up being their best player clearly, but Amari Gainer was a guy that kind of held it together a little bit, and he got banged up that season.
Yeah.
So I just want people to remember that he was not a bust. He was not a kid that did not produce. Like you said, he had over 200 career tackles here. He played a lot of football. He did not play a lot this year. He would probably played a lot, obviously would have played more if he didn't hurt his foot the first game of the season. But overall, I think he just got passed over by guys that they deem better. And so he's got one last shot at this to go make a name for himself in college football. And so he's got a chance. I don't know where he'll go. The real question now is, look, Florida State's got a dearth at that position. I don't know. What do they have coming back, Jeff, for sure? Deloach, DJ Lundy, Stephen Dix, I guess, if you think that's a thing. Graham, who's a freshman. And then not a lot of other proven, and Graham's not proven by any stretch. Not a lot of proven. And we don't know if Bethune walked. So we don't know if he's going to the league. Maybe he comes back. Who knows? Maybe I guess he probably could transfer somewhere else. We don't know what the linebacker situation is going to be like next year, but they got to get some numbers. And you can't just depend solely on true freshmen to come in and make an impact.
Yeah, and I think this is the exciting thing, and really we should round out the video on this, Corey, because I think you're nailing it here. First of all, I know it is self-promotion, but guys, you're going to want to sign up for warchant.com. It's a new era, man. We're closing in on signing day. In addition, the transfer portal doors are open. It happened at midnight last night. You're going to see the coming and going throughout college football, and you're going to want updates as to when it happens to Florida State, whether they're bringing in a player of note or whether a player like this, Amari Gainer, has decided to enter his name to the transfer portal. I don't think there's any doubt, Corey, that we'll have this covered. Jeff Cameron Show, Wake Up Warchant, Seminole headlines throughout the week because it's an exciting time. Florida State's a commodity now that people care about. It's a program moving in the right direction. We know what bowl game they're going to be playing in. We know that the next step is to win the conference championship, and you're going to have to replace pieces of the puzzle in order to do that. So make sure you get on board right now to Warchant.
I wanted to say also, On3 has a really cool portal page where it is constantly updating. On3 is obviously the network that Warchant is affiliated with. It's constantly updating every time somebody enters the portal, which I feel like is every 4 seconds.
Dude, it's
crazy.
Like Christmas. It's crazy.
It's National Signing Week. It's like National Signing Week for a whole week. It's just nothing. There's going to be over 2,000 players, legitimately. There will be over 2,000 players that enter the portal. Now, half of them won't find homes, but the ones you guys care about, you'll get to see their names pop up as soon as they're in the portal if you're on that On3 page. But yeah, Jeff, don't you think what's exciting about it, and again, we wish nothing but the best for Amari Gainer. I hope he kills it wherever he goes. Always a pleasure to talk to. It was here for 4 years through some really dark times and stayed. So good for him for sticking it through until, now he wants to go, make some plays somewhere else. But Florida State has done such a really good job of trading up in the portal. They lose a DB, they get Jamie Robinson. They lose a wide receiver, they get Micah and Johnny. And Winston Wright. They've done a offensive lineman too. They've crushed it there. Now you got a linebacker. You lost Amari Gainer. Who fills that void? 1 or 2 guys, and are you trading up? Which they have done a very, very good job of here so far in this new reality we have in college football.
An exciting reality, whether you like it or not. It is the reality, and there are changes happening all around college football. That includes to Florida State. It'll happen hourly. Like Corey said, On3's portals it really does a good job. If you go on to Twitter, wherever you go to follow On3, you refresh that often. And then also, obviously, make sure you're notified for when we come on, do videos like this, anytime a player is coming or going for Florida State. He's senior writer Corey Clark. I'm Jeff Cameron of the Jeff Cameron Show. No fancy title. That's just it, just Jeff Cameron.
Yep.
And we work for Warchant. That's a good thing, and you should sign up. Thanks, everybody, and make sure you get those alerts. We'll be back with more, I'm sure, probably even later today.